Hi, it's Belinda Norrington here, and a really warm welcome to a new offering from the Mind and Soul Foundation for 2021 called Peace Practices. And this is a space where we are going to explore and, as the name suggests, practice together some very simple ways to try and connect with some peace and a bit of calm, even in the midst of all of the anxieties and the uncertainties that we're still living through in this global pandemic. And in the ancient text of the Psalms in the Bible, in Psalm 34, verse 14, it says this: "Make peace your motto. Practice being at peace." And I think this suggests that, peace doesn't just land in our laps always. Sometimes we need to look for it, we need to ask for it, and we need to practice it. So I hope that you will join us once every couple of weeks to explore this together, because sometimes the very most difficult place for us to experience peace is in our own minds and emotions. And so grab a moment, come and join us as we try and find some ways to counteract the stresses and the anxieties of pandemic life together. So in this first one today, I'm going to get really practical. And we're going to look at what we might do to help manage some of the very understandable reactivity and stress that we feel as we digest the daily news cycle and we deal with all the stuff that comes to us on our devices and over the internet. And so imagine that you've just read another news article that's really spiked your adrenaline, or this can also be really useful if you've received a text or an email or something like that, or got into some conversation on Twitter or on Instagram that is just leaving you feeling rattled, feeling that you're in a kind of stress moment, and maybe you're likely to respond in some slightly hasty way that you might regret later, or maybe you're more likely just to end up in a bit of a spiral on your own of anxiety or low mood. So this is a really quite a quick, very doable, short practice that you could do just to take one step back from all of that and connect again with a bit of peace and find yourself in a slightly more grounded, less sort of head spinny space. So let's imagine that that's just happened to us. But because this can be a really great practice to do anytime to help us feel a bit more centered, to hold our center, as the Quakers sometimes describe it, this is just a really good one to do now anyway. So imagine that you just read something that's alarmed you or made you feel a bit reactive. First thing to do is just notice that that's how you're feeling. You don't have to judge the thoughts or the feelings. You don't want to deny them or kind of push them away. First thing is just notice what's here. So you might want to do that now. Just notice, what is it that you're feeling and you're thinking in this present moment. Try and hold them in your awareness just as the passing mental or emotional events that they are. And then turn off the device or the source of whatever it is that's rattled you. Obviously, you're not going to do that right now because you still need to listen to me. But if you were doing this in a kind of reactive moment, you might just want to put your phone aside. And if you're feeling very kind of tense and a bit constricted, you might just want to give yourself a stretch, maybe roll your shoulders a little bit. You could stand up and then sit down, get your feet flat on the floor, get your kind of posture nice and upright. You might even want to just push your chin in a tiny bit so you have that nice elongation on the back of your neck. You just want to recruit your bodily posture to help bring yourself just a little bit of calmness. And then take a nice big cleansing breath. Let out a kind of sigh if you need to do that. And then gently close your eyes. If you're not comfortable closing your eyes, just lower them. Lower your gaze a little bit so you can focus. And then I simply want you to ask yourself 3 questions. And ask them, if you can, with a kind of kind, curious inner voice. What am I thinking right now? Take a moment to just notice your thoughts without judging them. Just notice them. Then shift your awareness to your emotions, to your feelings. What are you feeling right now? See if you can use words that don't describe you as the feeling, like I am angry, I am tense. Try and say, I'm feeling angry. Try and use that kind of language just to give yourself that sense of observing your own emotional interior, not being defined by it or grasped by it. So what's there? What's in your feelings in this moment? And then finally, what are the physical sensations that I'm feeling in my body right now? And you may want to offer yourself a little bit of just compassion by placing a hand gently on an area that feels there's some sensation of stress. It may be if your heart's beating really fast, it may be your chest, or if you have that tight feeling in your throat, it could just be a really gentle touch to your throat. If you've got that kind of tense tummy, just a gentle hand placed on your stomach can just be that sense of offering yourself a moment, offering yourself a little bit of compassion. So what are you feeling in your physical body? And once that scan is finished, just begin to narrow your focus of attention to the physical sensations of your breath. If it's not comfortable for you to focus on your breathing, then you could just use the grounding sensation of the soles of your feet on the floor, the points of connection of your heel and your toes. Give them a bit of a wiggle, get that nice grounding sense of connection. You could just notice the play of air on the upturned palms of your hands. You could focus on that. But if you can, the breath is a wonderfully centering and grounding focus. And you could just notice where the air is filling your torso as you breathe in. Is it high up in the chest, or is it a bit lower in the abdomen? Is it fast or slow? Is it deep or shallow? No need to fix it, just notice it. And without forcing it at all, just see, experiment. Is it possible to slow the breath just a tad? Maybe letting it settle a little lower in your belly when you inhale. Breathing in gently through your nose and then exhaling nice and slow through the mouth. You may find that pursing your lips as if you were sucking on a straw and exhaling through that enables you to have a slower, smoother out breath. So you just need to take 5 of these nice, steady breath cycles. Inhale, allowing the abdomen to be soft, and then exhale. Give yourself 5 nice breaths like that. As you do that, even just this practice alone will slightly dampen down your nervous system if it's got really agitated. Just take as many breaths as you need to. This could be a longer section if you wanted it to be. And finally, for the third part of this practice, just expand and return your attention to your thoughts, your feelings, and those physical sensations in your body. Just scanning through them, noticing if there are any differences, if anything feels a bit released, if there's any reflections going on. And as you do this, just keep breathing nice and gently. If you're a person of faith, it might be a really lovely moment just to connect with the presence of God, the one who is supplying you with these breaths, who is sustaining you, who loves you, who holds you steady. Just notice what's here. You may want to whisper a prayer. Certainly give yourself a warm intention to take only the actions going forward that seem most wise in this moment, most truthful or kind. And once you've done that, you can just gently open your eyes again. You might want to, if you've been sitting still for a while, just give yourself a bit of a move around again. And whatever response that you choose now to take forward, at least you've done it after giving yourself a pause for a bit of reflection, a bit of discernment. You've given yourself the gift of a buffer between your response and all the stuff that's coming in towards you. As Viktor Frankl, the Austrian psychiatrist and Holocaust survivor, said brilliantly in his book, Man's Search for Meaning, he said, between stimulus and response, there's a space, and in that space is our power to choose our response. And in our response lies our growth and our freedom. And so I hope that this short practice just gives you a feeling of finding yourself in that space where you have a bit more agency, you have a bit more freedom to choose how to respond, and it leaves you feeling a bit more grounded and centered, a little bit more peaceful. So that's it for today, and I really hope you'll come and join us in a couple of weeks where we'll be exploring a new peace practice. Until then, take care and God bless. Goodbye.